How long have you been coming to the farmer's market?
When it first opened.
So you come every week?
Yes.
Oh,
I come
wow.
every week, except 1 week when I'm away at Bradley Beach. Otherwise, I'm here.
Is there a reason you come here instead of going to like a supermarket for your produce?
Fresher vegetables and fruits, and tastes better.
Have you been coming to the farmer's market?
As soon as it began happening, I started showing up.
Like every week you try to come?
Yes, except we're away in the summer, so I don't get here early, but I'm here till the end.
Do you come here, why, do you have a reason you come here instead of like a supermarket for your produce?
Yeah, the produce is much better.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's fresh, and the variety is amazing, and where are you going to get pickles in a supermarket like these? No, not going to happen. Or flowers.
Do you have a favorite like stand or vendor?
No, I really try to do business with as many people as possible. They each have their own kind of, the organic people, the flower people, the pickle people. Yeah.
And the farmers market is one of our big programs. It runs for 6 months of the year. It runs from the beginning of June through December, every Friday from 11 to 5:30, and it's one of our favorite things.
The farmers market has been here for 19 years, and it was formerly run by the borough. And when Main Street Highland Park was formed in 2002, we took it over, and it's grown in success. We've expanded our space and the vendors and the interest that we have in it. It's publicized well now, so a lot of people come from out of town. It's been great for our downtown to have the farmers market here. As a merchant in town, I can say that we're 3 blocks away from the farmers market. But on Fridays when the market is here, our sales are increased compared to other Fridays. So it's wonderful for us. We see customers from out of town and meet new customers from out of town because of the market.
Main Street manages the farmers market.
So you choose vendors?
We choose the vendors. Most of the vendors have been here for many years. So for the most part, we have not really chosen many new vendors. Well, they're all from New Jersey. And our produce is all Jersey fresh. And I'd say all the vendors are from New Jersey. Every week we start at the same time. The vendors get here between 9 and 10:30 to start setting up. And they have their assigned spots. They're in the same spot every week. And they know where to go, and we know how much space each vendor requires. So it runs actually pretty smoothly. In terms of how successful it is for Main Street, we know because we have the same vendors who come back year after year, and they pay an annual fee, and they're happy to be here. For the most part, I actually just talk to a lot of the vendors, and they will tell me from time to time how well they're doing. So, there's really not a precise way to measure, but just, I guess, a general feeling from the vendors is that it's a very successful market.
Yes, I'm Joe Honorato from Von Thun Farm.
I'm Caroline Makarowski from Von Thun Farms.
Where is your farm?
We're in South Brunswick, Monmouth Junction.
So it's pretty close to here?
About 15 minutes, very close.
Yeah.
Very close. The produce still wiggles when it gets here.
How long have you been selling at this farmer's market?
Wow, we've been here, I guess we've been here since the beginning, about 19 years. I haven't myself, but we've been here since the market started.
Is this the only farmer's market that you sell at?
No, we do 3 others.
Oh. What goes into getting everything here? Is it a big effort to sell at a farmer's market?
It's a lot of work. It starts early in the morning just to get the produce that we get here. We pick it the morning of. Then we load it up and bring it here, and then we load it up and bring it back home. So it's a pretty big effort every Friday. With Kim here with the market's been really, really doing well. We're very happy with it.
Do you have a bestseller here?
What, as a product?
Yeah.
The corn you see behind you is probably the best corn in the state. People come from everywhere to buy our corn. Yeah, most of the stuff, when I load the truck, probably 30, 40 bags of corn every week.
Do you usually sell all of it?
90% of it, and then the rest I give to the food bank.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah, but corn, they come from everywhere to get our corn.
Oh, thank you.
It's good stuff.
Hi, my name is Kim.
What farm are you from?
Jeff's Organic Produce. I've been working at this market for 5 years, and I believe Jeff's Organic Produce has been here for about 9, at least. I think we have a lot of variety. Yeah, I think the variety is kind of what stands out the most, and we take extra special care to make sure that everything on our table looks the best. And
So, like, what is it a big effort to come here and sell at a farmer's market?
yes,
Everything, Does everything take like the day of, or
within 24 hours of the market. So a lot of picking, packing, storage, transportation, getting things out of the cooler and onto the truck, and setting up the tents and tables is quite.
do you like coming here?
I love it.
Yeah?
Love it, yeah.
Great.
It's a lot of fun. I meet a lot of nice people, and I enjoy being outside and with good food, and it's great.
Main Street is funded through a special improvement district. It's an extra assessment assessed to the downtown business owners. It's a few cents on every dollar of assessed value of the properties, and that is funneled through the borough to provide a large percentage of Main Street's funding, although we also get some grants. We are an independent nonprofit, so we do some fundraising, some private fundraising, some grant fundraising. We make some money off the farmers market, but we spend it on the farmers market. I mean, so it's every year we have expenses, and it's getting. This is our I think our biggest year that I've seen since we've been here. We are getting more and more vendors calling every week to ask if they can be part of it, and it's becoming much more popular and really, really successful. People are really happy with it. We solicit some vendors if we see some that we really would like to have. We've been in the market for a new fish vendor because our old fish vendor couldn't come anymore, and people really like the fish vendor. So we've been searching around, calling around, trying to find another fish vendor, but a lot of times they come to us because our market is pretty well known and pretty successful. We have a lot of local musicians. We don't have music every Friday, but a lot of Fridays we have local musicians come out and play. Some local crafters come. The farmers, obviously the farmers are not from Highland Park because there are no farms in Highland Park. But like Kim was saying, they're all from New Jersey, and it's a Jersey Fresh certified market. Oh, I should say, all Highland Park residents who are eligible to participate in the Highland Park Food Pantry can use food pantry vouchers to purchase food at the farmers market, and it's the only farmers market in the state that has that sort of relationship with a food pantry. So it's a really great way for lower income residents of Highland Park to be able to buy all these wonderful fruits and fresh fruits and vegetables. So we're really proud of that partnership.
I'm Michael Britton, and this is Ana Soto-Canino, Director and Chief Instructor of the Academy of Art of Highland Park. So, tell us a little bit. You're not originally from Highland Park, so where are you from?
I'm originally from Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
It's still another home of mine, my original home. Mm-hmm. I do visit quite often, and I work there as well. I came to the States, specifically to New Jersey as a child at age 6. But then I returned back to the island with my family at age 12. came back for college at age 18.
Now, your field is art. Did you start drawing and so on as a child or later in life? How did that all develop?
Well, most children, if you leave them alone to their own devices, will mark surfaces with crayons, with chalks, with stones, markers, whatever's at hand. And I was no different. I just loved making marks, scribbling on the walls. I actually remember drawing on the walls, driving my grandmother crazy. But then it seemed to take off, and I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. So my kindergarten teacher one afternoon approached my mother, and I recall this incident very clearly. And she said to my mother that I should be placed in art lessons. And I also recall understanding what that meant somehow. And to this day, I have students whose parents say that they're 6 and they're asking for art lessons and they don't know where this is coming from. And I go, oh, I know where it's coming from. They do know.
And did you find particular teachers then that were very helpful to you?
And I studied with Jorge Rechani, a renowned painter to this day, now deceased, in Puerto Rico. I studied with some fascinating artists whose lives remain anonymous. They were not in the public eye.
Mm-hmm. And so you came to college here in the States?
I did. I vied for admission to several colleges here in the States. My #1 choice was Princeton University here in New Jersey. I was admitted. I was admitted to the class of '85 with scholarships. And of course I went for my preferred choice. I did not know at the time that upon entering campus, I discovered that Princeton had a fascinating training program for visual artists. And what made it very special is that you had to train in studio, but you also had to take obligatory classes in art history. And that really rounds up your entire experience as a visual artist. And in fact, this is not new, although it is still uncommon to this day, but it does come in the steps of the old atelier tradition where you just didn't practice mechanically. You understood very deep concepts about the ideas and the ideals and the history of these things inside your practice. It was living history, and you would train through your teacher.
Now, your actual degree at Princeton was in psychology?
Yes, I did, because I entered first semester, knowing that I wanted the training in the visual arts, that I also wanted a scientific grounding. I went and pursued both programs, psychology with a concentration in visual perception, as well as the training in the visual arts and art history from my first semester.
So with all of this experience and so on, how did Highland Park first come to be on your horizon? How did you discover that there is such a place as Highland Park?
Oh, that's a beautiful question.
What led you to decide you were going to live here?
Yeah, so all I've been mentioning all those early years is a lot of travel around the world, a lot of jobs in various states, living up and down the East Coast. And by this time I was in my mid-30s, and I was again back in graduate school. This time I was studying urban planning and policy. That is my master's degree. I'm very interested in community. And what happens is my then husband scouts out the place where we might live, as I was at the time studying in upstate New York. Well, he says, I found a small place. I think you'll like it. Come on down. And push and shove, he had to secure the apartment before I saw it. And when I came down, he was a little jittery, since he had to make this unilateral decision. But I just took a stroll through the town, and I was delighted. And the very first thing that took me about Highland Park was the many trees. The many trees. We went through streets that were strange to me. Now I know them well. And the other thing that took me is there was a little downtown feel, shops close to each other, windows facing the street, and there was pedestrian traffic. And people were saying hi to each other, and dogs were walking around with their masters on their leashes. And I said, this is it, I love it. Never knowing that through another series of unforeseen accidents, I would come to now live here 15 years continuously, make it my home, still adore it. I tell all my youngsters, all the folks I work with and I teach, what a precious little gem this town is. And I'm hoping to not have to leave.
And then how did you decide you were going to start an art academy?
I didn't decide I was going to start an art academy. Again, this is just being very active, searching for many opportunities, taking a lot of risks, just putting my feelers out there. One day I realized that in graduate school, I'm going to need a lot more money than that I have presently under scholarship, under loans. And so I thought about it and I decided I am a classically trained visual artist. Why don't I start here on my kitchen table in my little one-bedroom apartment in Highland Park? This was back on Two River Road. Why don't I start teaching classical drawing lessons for children? And I put together a small syllabus, presuming that I would have an artist for a few weeks at most, and then they would go. I put together a little trifold flyer from the computer, and I went and posted it up and down the street here on Raritan Avenue. Before I know it, the phone was ringing, and I had a student inquiry, and that student became the student. And then I had a second inquiry, and within the first 3 months, I had 10 students.
Wow.
Yes.
That's terrific.
Yes. I was still operating out of the kitchen table. It was getting very big. Within 6 months, I had 40 people coming through the apartment a week. And it started to get a little unwieldy. The students also needed a little more equipment, a little more space.
Yeah.
And so I approached my landlord for another space. He was very supportive. He was very gracious. He rented me another small space that now people who remember that history remember as the Creative Genius Workshop. And the Creative Genius Workshop was my little one-table operation in a basement. It was very well done. It was clean. It was dry, brightly lit. We had a sink. We had a toilet. Everything beautiful. But within 3 months, we outgrew that space.
Wow.
So this is spreading by word of mouth. That, and I'll say it, that powerful drawing lessons were being offered. By this time, the parents who are sitting nearby, listening and overhearing the lessons, approached me. Could they sit as a student? At which point, I'm not prepared. I say, yes, I'll create a syllabus for you. I cannot sit you and the child together. I do have to work language and concepts a little differently. They agree. Now I have a student body of adults. A few months down the road, now it's the teen siblings or the cousin. And pretty soon this exploded in my face. And I'm running a little teaching studio as a viable business with no business plan, with no architecture whatsoever. I was simply teaching. This is also when you read the Harvard Business Review and when you read the pundits on developing and growing a business based on a service or a product that people can really, really use. This is the #1 rule. Whether you're under a shed or a palm tree or in a very lavish setting, give the best that you can. Deliver the knowledge that you're offering to impart. And that's all I was doing. I was just being as genuine and as authentic as I could with what I knew. And the big difference was that I told my students, I'm not going to teach you art lessons. I'm not going to teach you art. I'm going to teach you the craft of the artist. And this is a very different ball game. At first, little glazing of the eye, not too sure. But we're working, and the work and the process speaks for itself, and they're seeing the results, and they're seeing themselves get very skillful and very sensitive. And so slowly but surely they start to learn that this craft is how you operate conceptually, intellectually, emotionally, mechanically, procedurally, that there's this vast form of knowledge. And frankly, it's been lost in a lot of the transmission of an artist to another artist, how we work. The atelier tradition, the classical studio tradition is now very hard to find.
Keeper vertical. Yes, everybody's vertical. Amita, help now with this. Put your model as far away as possible, like just a little beyond arm's reach. Turn it so you see 2 panels of the bag. Find your cast shadow and put the brush opposite the cast shadow. All of this has a reason for being. So that right there is very good. Are you happy with that? Okay, let's see. Brooke, brush opposite the cast shadow, sweetie. Okay, let's see here, Ben. Yeah, that looks good. Now make sure the back coaches are at angles, very steep angles. Good job. Okay, that's all there's to it. So draw rather large, but very lightly on your own. Let's go. Start. Hey, Danny. This it's like an L. This line is very diagonal, very steep. We call it. It's very steep. Look, larger. Look, it's very steep. And it's very steep, so it can't be horizontal.
Is a studio where the artist learns process, the process of developing an image from intention to finish. So yes, we pay a lot of attention to product. Actually, we push our students to produce pieces that are of exhibition quality with each and every piece. But we're also sharing with them constantly, and this is the deep training. There's this vast body of knowledge generated by masters who we well know and masters who we don't know. Anonymous practitioners through the ages. But this knowledge has been imparted, and there is tremendous wealth of how do you do this. And this is what we do. We teach process. We teach the burden of the artist, the burden of being an author. And this is a transformative experience. We bring visual back to the visual arts.
So first just here. Yeah, somewhere. So we're going to shade only this part. Can you see that? Now, block shading only. We don't do this a lot. I want to show you. And also for our outdoor work in August.
And then there's a line dark, right? It should actually be that dark.
Yeah.
There's some ones that are like, you can also erase a little bit in areas that are much lighter, right? Start for this part or this part? Yeah, so start there.
Yeah. Each one, and learn from the weaknesses and the strengths of each one. All of these are perfect teachers. The drawing cannot lie. Okay? It cannot lie. So it will tell you what your process was all about. Most people look at the product. The lay person, the non-expert, looks at the product. You have to now be in the process still. I need you in the process. Okay? So first of all, congratulations, because this is a very tough job. On the other hand, I kept my promise. We didn't teach you anything new. It's the old grayscale and using lines, character lines. It's the old grayscale and character lines. We didn't give you any new kind of otherworldly model you've never seen. This is an everyday object like anything else you would like to draw. Okay? But your master skill is observation. Eyes on the prize, understanding how light creates these shapes. Okay? This is all spatial exploration. You were just exploring. That's all drawing is and painting.
We bring visual back to the visual arts. It's not about the hand. We tell our instructors, our students, God forbid you lose your limbs. You could still take your tool, as we see in hospitals and rehab centers, by people who have lost use of hands. And they work with their mouth, with the tool in their mouth or in their toes, and produce beautiful, arresting images that have stories to tell. So we tell them it's a visual art form. It's in the eye. It's in how you perceive the world, how you interpret and portray it, and how I now, as onlooker, can share that with you. Right? Everyone, try it. If you don't like it, go take up cooking or horseback riding. But aspire. Forget this nonsense about talent. Try it. Work hard, learn, develop the skills, the sensibilities. All the great masters that teach us, they were put in studio when they were little children. They breathed and slept and ate, training in the visual arts. Michelangelo, Da Vinci have written copious notes encouraging you to sit down and work at it. They didn't say, look at me, I'm a genius. Well, Michelangelo did, of course. He's very well known for that. But he had one of the most favorite statements from Michelangelo I know. He walked into the studio, his student is gone. Andrea, I think is his name. So Michelangelo writes on the drawing the student abandoned because he went out to party. And this drawing exists with Michelangelo's handwriting. Draw, Antonio, draw, Antonio, draw and do not waste time.